Japan, a nation known for its collectivism and cultural harmony. But if you look deeper into their history, there are individuals who contradict this idea. Flashy hairstyles, American-influenced fashion, and troublemaking. That was the life of a Yankee. No, not that one. Yankee is a general term referring to the culture of Japan's rebellious youth. They were typically low-level troublemakers that searched for belonging outside of common society. Despite their criminal image, they were mostly harmless in comparison to the Yakuza. Their appearance reflected a blend of American and Yakuza styles as seen by mafia punch perms and US parachute pants to name two. Activities could include beating up non-members, intimidation, fighting, smoking, drinking, bullying, and theft. Some lived this lifestyle like a trend, short-termed and eventually a small piece of their history, while those who lived it longer were often passionate, right-wing nationalists and viewed Japan's military history with glory and admiration. If you were to ask, many of them idolized samurai warriors and kamikaze pilots. The appearance of Yankees grew rapidly during and after World War II. But why did this happen? Arrests of juvenile delinquents under the Penal Code between 1936 to 1940 averaged 48,588. During World War II, there's a gradual rise, and the highest number in a year was 75,314 in 1944. During the post-war years, there's an astronomical rise. In 1950 alone, there was 158,424 accounted arrests. Countries, especially defeated ones, naturally see an emergence of juvenile rebellion. Social and economic consequences substantially impact citizens, especially hormonal teens wrapping their head around the complexities of the world. And defeat is not limited to a loss in a war, but also shifts in political and social structures. During the post-war, food shortages, inflation, and other issues complicated the lives of Japanese civilians.
Japanese in the big cities like Tokyo and Yokohama are faced with acute shortages of food and goods of every description. Crowds gather at department stores, eager to purchase the few meager supplies available, and Yank MPs have their hands full coping with the distracted people.
In facing such adversities, this eroded the prominent social and moral control of citizens. Living in a state of destitution pushed law-abiders to carry out crimes they otherwise would not commit. Other political changes to note include the drastic shift of becoming allies with the US soon after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the dismantlement of Japan's revered military, and paying compensation as part of a peace treaty with 49 countries. Entrance examinations demanded students to attain higher education to keep up with the fast rate of industrialization. A good score secures students career and status success. However, competition is vigorous, resulting in students to devote a majority of their time to hopefully fortify their future. Youth struggle to enjoy their childhood with the constant pressures applied by both family and society. This is especially apparent in children lacking academic abilities, facing financial instability, or whose records were impacted by their social standings. Delinquents chose to rebel against authoritative figures and their expectations, many turning to the Yankee life to enjoy their present in response to losing hopes in their adulthood. In a world that expected kids to sacrifice their true selves to meet a goal they saw unachievable, they'd rather to revolt and seek acceptance. In 1950, Hiroyuki Yamagiwa, a 19-year-old chauffeur at Nihon University, robbed a car at knife point and drove off with $2 million in cash. He went on a 3-day spending spree alongside his girlfriend, spending 300,000 yen. On facing arrest, Yamagiwa attempted to convince officers he was not himself, but a random Japanese American by crying out, "Oh, mistake." Unsurprisingly, the heavily accented English did not fool the officers. He showed no remorse or regret, and this case was sensationalized, instigating Japanese peoples to recognize, and some even fear, the intense uprising of delinquency. There were panics that American influence was to blame. Still today, this is a remembered event tied to Yankee culture. Yankee can be further broken down into different subcultures. With admiration to the Yakuza, Bancho groups had order with established hierarchies and social standings. They are male exclusive, with one bancho meaning leader and up to 5 lieutenants. Groups can be between 20 to 60 members. Status relied on planned fights, with winners ascending the ranks. These members were younger, and many grew up to join Bosozoku groups and possibly the Yakuza. Su, meaning girl, and ban, short for bancho, Sukabans are female-exclusive groups that were more common than their male counterparts. Feminism was a key ideology shared, and members defied gender norms through purposely acting bad. This formed a space for autonomy and independence because in male-run gangs, and even in the Yakuza, no women were given genuine recognized roles. Strict rules varied by group, held great importance, and breaking them could have severe punishments, such as being burned with cigarette butts. Their boldness extended to their fashion, wearing altered skirts that were far longer than the average uniform, and painted phrases all over. Their intimidation wouldn't go unnoticed. Unsuspecting individuals could meet a cutter, chain, or razor blade that was tucked under their skirt. Boso, meaning to lose control or in context road rage, Zoku, meaning tribe, put together, Bosozoku can mean violent running tribe or reckless driving group. Bosozoku gangs are more violent than the average Yankees. This group is most likely to be inducted by the Yakuza. These biker gangs are commonly seen in headlines for reckless driving and involvement in car accidents. They're often spotted sporting their signature tokofoku, long jackets customized with usually mottos belonging to their group, like no win, no losses. In some cities, these uniforms are banned to be worn in public. Early groups formed after kamikaze pilots returned from the Second World War. Looking for something to fulfill their desire for danger and thrills, they formed loud, flashy motorcycle gangs. You could calmly see them wielding knives, pipes, and bats. Members had to stay on their toes, otherwise they could be abducted, attacked, beaten, or murdered. Female Bosozoku groups also existed, formed by former or current Bosozoku lovers. However, there was little information available dedicated to them. Teamers, referred to as teams rather than gangs, filled the streets of Shibuya between the 80s and 90s, riding custom motorcycles. For fun, they would spark scuffles with bystanders, and some would even jump you and steal your Air Max 95s. Their streetwear was all the rage in the 80s, influenced by American casual wear or directly imported from the West. Leather jackets, Levi's jeans, and scarves were commonly worn. Films gave major influences as well, such as Warriors and The Outsiders. Many came from wealthy families or attended prestigious high schools, and were labeled as more intellectual than the average delinquent. Yankees grew to be frequently present in manga, forming the genre known as, you guessed it, Yankee manga. Bebop High School by Kiyuchi Kazuhiro was made in 1983, introducing the lives of two previous fighters, Nakama Toru and Kato Hiroshi. This was a significant representation of the rowdy lifestyle, selling over 40 million copies and inspiring many others to emulate the countercultures in media. Other Yankee characters can include Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho, Eikichi Onizuka from Great Teacher Onizuka, and Atsuko Nagumo from Sukeban to Tenkosei. Still today, there is a sense of nostalgia when thinking about youth rebellion in media. In 2017, Tokyo Avengers was released, portraying a protagonist, Hanagaki Takemichi, who, living a boring life, wakes up 12 years into the past, reliving his gang days and attempting to save his girlfriend from being killed by the Tokyo Manji gang. This manga was created by Ken Wakui, who used his personal experiences as a former Yankee to write. Wakui identified his younger self as delinquent, a member of a biker gang, and a bar host in a women's bar in the 2000s. In 2014, Harada Yohei published Yankee Economics, the New Conservatives as the Leaders of Consumption. He coined the term mild Yankee to describe the mellow rebels of the 21st century Japan. Modern Yankees are local-loving, homebody introverts. They're socially conservative people in that they resist change and hold reserved personalities. They hold close connections only with junior high classmates and their parents whom they rely on heavily. They don't go into town and are only interested in doing what's familiar to them. While their rebellion might not seem apparent, keep in mind that this lifestyle goes greatly against societal expectations of seeking diligence and hard work, in other words, ganbatte. As we previously mentioned, Youth during the post-war years and Industrial Revolution were expected to progress and advance as quickly as their economy. Therefore, Harada suspects the decline of intense Yankees can correlate to parents not holding as high standards and pressures like they did decades ago. During Japan's economic boom, regular employment has become increasingly difficult, and even highly talented and educated parents can face layoff and pay cuts. In consequence, youth have grown to rebel less and sympathize more. Here are 2 responses by 2 Yankee boys. Juvenile delinquency tells many stories, pleas for acceptance and freedom, finding oneself, coming of age, and finding enjoyment in an unforgiving world.